All right. So, thank you guys for joining me for another Thursday night, another night in the spotlight. And we have an awesome guest for you today. Really like a jack of all trades. And it looks like, here he goes. Let's get him. All right. Now, on top of being, oh, there we go. Hey! Nothing much. Look, I'm just glad I got you. My first connection was a little shiny, so good.
I'm telling you, got that Teddy Riley Wi-Fi.
No. Don't jinx it. Don't jinx it. But I was just telling the people a little bit about who you are, promoter, influencer, entrepreneur, author. Now, you go by Teej, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
But how do you say your first name?
Taimak.
Taimak. That is a wonderful name. Now, have you seen The Last Dragon?
That's where I got it from.
Okay, all right. That's one of my favorite movies. I was gonna hip you if you wasn't hip. Okay.
Oh, yeah, my mom, that's where she got the name from. She's like, it's so bad that she didn't even pronounce it right. Like it's supposed to be Taimak, but
right, but it's
called it Taimak.
Listen, she was just feeling the creativity. Okay, shout out to moms on that one. But how are you doing it over there on the west side?
It's hot. It's getting super hot over here. So
over here too, it was like 89 degrees today. Everything was just boiling outside. And now, how long have you been in LA?
I've been out here since last February, so about almost a year and a half now. So getting to it.
Okay, look, you picked a good year to go out there with this.
It was before.
Right, exactly. I mean, with the pandemic, I know it's been a bit crazy on your side, but how are you enjoying Cali life aside from all of that?
Besides all that, Cali life has been pretty good to me. I came out here to learn the trade of cannabis, so I was able to hop in that and get knee deep in that and be able to produce my own business out of it. Well, not my business, but I partnered with someone and being able to learn how to teach cultivation classes, marketing and stuff. So California's been pretty good to me so far.
It seems like it. So you already touched on it a little bit. Tell me a little bit about the cannabis company that you're in a partner with.
I partnered. A friend of a friend was looking for somebody to run their grow house, and basically I started talking to them, sent them my resume, and then we just decided that it was best that we did a partnership instead of me just working there, because it would be beneficial on both of us. Their expenses could be lower, and then also I would make money in the beginning, because you don't make money until you start seeing net profits. So it's a good thing, because I'll be able to make more than I ever would be able to working for somebody.
Got you. Yeah, I mean, and that's always a plus. Always a plus. Now, for those, what's the name of your company?
It's called Green Haven LA, and the parent company is called Go Verde.
Okay.
So you can go to goverde.com. It's a website that explains all the different businesses, because Go Verde is an incubator, so it's a lot of different Black-owned cannabis brands that are attached to Go Verde, that are under Go Verde.
Okay.
So
that's pretty good. Now, is this also a dispensary that people can go to when they're in LA?
No, not yet. They're working on that now. They have like several licenses. They have a cultivation license, distribution, manufacturing. They're working on getting their dispensary license, and they also have 3 event licenses. So event licenses are like when you do event, club events, concerts, festivals, any kind of thing like that, block parties. You'll be able to sell cannabis at those events with that license. And then also we have a cannabis consumption lounge license. So basically, in the next few years, we'll produce a restaurant where you can smoke in there.
Okay, all right.
So they
and I heard that they do have a few of those already in the LA area, right?
Yep.
Hey. Okay, now for those looking to break into the cannabis industry, what's the first thing they should know?
Nothing, honestly. Like I came into the cannabis industry knowing nothing. Like all I did was smoke cannabis, so wasn't predisposed to knowing how to grow or anything like that. I tried to grow before I got a job and actually learned how to grow. I tried to do it on my own. I looked it up on YouTube and I failed miserably. So I was able to go into the job that I got with an open mind. You know, the manager, when I first got hired, he asked me, he said, "Do you have any cannabis experience?" And I told him no. And he said, "Great." And I said, "Why is that great?" He said, "Because we want to teach you how we want you to grow." What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? How y'all doing? So they wanted me to learn their way of growing, and with a blank slate, it was easier than somebody who may have had prior experience, because that prior experience would get in the way of them trying to teach that person.
And that's very true. Sometimes you think what you think you already know can get in the way of you learning something in a whole new way. So I totally agree with that method. Now, you said something about teaching the cultivation classes and also marketing. Tell us a little bit about the classes that you have taught in regards to the cannabis industry.
Well, I haven't taught yet. I'm in the process of actually creating. So, like, it's going to be a step-by-step process of how you actually grow cannabis from seed to actual harvest. So it's going to be like a PowerPoint, and then what I'm going to do is I'm starting it in DC, and what's going to happen is I'm going to basically rent out a place or some venue or something, and it's going to be limited to. It was supposed to be 100 people, but with COVID and all that stuff going on now, we're going to go ahead and make it 50 people. So it's going to be super limited, and then also with me teaching the class, I'm also going to fly out an actual master grower who had my mentor who actually taught me how to grow, so that way he can also teach the class, because I know how to grow, but he knows so much more than me. So it'll be, way better for him to fly out, be able to, describe things that I may not be able to go into super detail about, because he has over 10 years of experience, and he's actually younger than me. I'm 32. He's 29 or 30. He's 29 or 30. So he's been growing for like 12 years.
Oh, wow. All right. So, and you might want to think about making those classes virtual, so you don't even have to be around nobody, period.
I would say virtual for cannabis, it isn't good, because what we're going to do is we're actually going to have plants there. Now, of course, we're going to create like a YouTube video on a small how-to, but the classes that we're doing is like very in-depth. So like I've looked on plenty of YouTube videos to see how you grow cannabis before I knew how to grow. And then I looked at those same videos after I learned and noticed that they were lacking in so much detail, because cannabis is really just attention to detail.
Yeah, okay. I can understand that. Sometimes you got to be a little bit more hands-on when you're learning something. So I get that. I definitely do. And in your opinion, would you say that the cannabis industry is getting saturated, or do you still think that it's ripe for someone who is interested in into it?
Cannabis is a baby right now. Like cannabis, All right, so cannabis, I'll say about 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, it was a super infant, like 6-month baby. Right now, you're looking at a toddler, like 3 or 4 years. It's the terrible twos with, with it. I don't have any kids, but I know how people tell me to describe their kids, my nephews, and how they were so bad and stuff like that. So that's the stage that cannabis is in. It's still in the very early stages. So my goal with teaching the cannabis classes, the classes and marketing classes, is to get Black people interested in cannabis, because I've noticed that there is a lack of diversity when it comes to Black people in the cannabis industry.
Really?
The job that I worked at previously, there were about 45 employees, 50, maybe 50, but I'll say probably 40 something. Out of those 40, there were 3 hires that were Black. And then there were other Black people there, but they were only there because of a social equity program, which is basically like reparations for Black people who've been arrested. And so they give people licenses and jobs and stuff like that in the cannabis industry. So besides the other people that were a part of the social equity program, they only had 3 people. The grow that I work at now, I'm the only Black person there. So I just know, I've been in other grows and seen that there were no Black people there. So I just know that there's a lack of diversity when it comes to Black people. So I want us to be able to get in the industry, because the money is tremendous. There's so much money in cannabis, and it's not just you smoking. Like, you can grow hemp, and hemp, I know somebody who grows hemp and they turn it into plastic, they turn it into clothing.
I've seen that, hemp clothing and things like that. You can make a lot of different products with that.
Exactly. So when I try to tell people about how cannabis is, I want to make sure that they know it's not just you rolling up a J and you smoking it, and
right, and because that's the misconception, is that it's just for the smokers that just want to get high. Like, no, it has a lot of medical benefits. Like you said, clothing. It's evolved into so much more than just that as well. And earlier. Well, for those who are just tuning in, we've gained a couple more viewers. Again, this is Teej, promoter, influencer. He's also in partnership with a cannabis company, giving us some insight on the cannabis industry, and he's also a author. So let's get into this author vibe, because you did mention the classes that you wanted to start teaching. Well, let's restate that. The classes that you will teach will be starting out in Washington, D.C., our hometown, your fellow Washingtonian. So I want to play a game. You cool with that?
Absolutely. Let's go.
All right. You've been in D.C. in L.A. for a little while. Okay, I want to make sure you ain't lose none of that D.C., okay?
Okay.
So I got a multiple. We're gonna play a little game where I'm asking you some questions, and I'll give you 3 multiple choice answers, and you tell me which one is so DC. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So number 1. So it's late. Let me set the picture for you. And you just got something to eat, some food to take home. But before you go, the server hands you your food, and she says, "Hey, would you like some ketchup or mambo sauce or ranch? Which one you choosing?"
Why would ranch ever be an answer?
Listen, I thought I'd put in there, like, so I didn't know what your preferences were.
People that eat ranch worship the devil, so I don't know about that. But so DC is obviously B. It's obviously mumbo sauce. But
okay.
Answer is salt, pepper, and mumbo sauce on everything.
Yes. Okay. I'm feeling that one. All right. So number 2. All right. How about this? Go-Go Band. We talking Rare Essence? We talking CCB or Backyard?
That's a trick question because Backyard and RE, that's CCB. They ain't even on their level, but Backyard and RE, that's really a toss up, and that really goes to the air. Like the people in the '80s that grew up on Go-Go in the '80s, they'll definitely say RE, but the people who grew up in the '90s, they'll definitely say Backyard. But
yeah.
I would say,
what would it be personally? What would it be?
Personally, it's going to be Backyard, but
okay.
As far as my actual ranking of all time, like I did a Go-Go ranking, like the top 50 Go-Go bands, and I had RE above Backyard. So,
All right. Well, either way, that was a so DC answer. So you got that one right. So you're good. You're good. Now the last one. All right, this one. What happens at 5 in the morning? Okay, you get up to go to work. Do the lights go out, or do you roll over and hit your alarm clock?
The lights go out. At 6 in the morning, you can hear start the show.
Look, for those that don't know, go listen to the overnight scenario, okay? So it looks like you have not lost your DC edge. And I know that also from your book, The Prince of DC, A Gogo Tale. Now, before we hop into that, let me know what made you decide to add author to your titles?
I really don't know. Hey, 7 in the morning, she'll be calling again. They know what's up, man. Love my city, man. But I honestly don't know. My book, I all right. So I would say I was inspired by my man Malik. He wrote a book called Bounce Beat Baby, and it was basically like
I've heard of that book.
Yeah, it's basically his life through the sound of go-go, and I thought that was like a really dope idea. You know, his story is incredible, and I knew if people liked his story, people would love my story. So I would say that would be the influence, but also I was just looking for another avenue of income.
Right. Hey, I mean, you got to try all the talents that God gave you, okay?
Exactly.
Now, tell us a little bit about the process of writing your book. Like, how long did it take you to complete it?
Oh, it took like almost a year because I probably started it last May. And the reason why it even took that long was because I was just doing so many other things. I was still, last year, I was still back and forth to DC, still doing shows. And then I started in the cannabis industry. So that started taking up so much of my time.
Right. I can see that.
So basically, like anytime I would have free time, like I would just write like a chapter here, a chapter there. And the only problem was, I mean, well, it wasn't a problem because it actually made it easier because I didn't have to get too many references. I wrote it all from like my memory. Like I didn't like go and reference like or ask people what happened or I just whatever I remembered and I knew it to be actually true because I know a lot of people lie on their stuff. So
they sure do. You got to fact check.
I wanted to make sure that I wrote a good story and it's just chapter every time I got some free time, I will write a different chapter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, you got to fit it in when you can. Now, I'm saying since you said that this was a new venture for you, did it require something that you were surprised that it would before you started? Like when you started the book process, did you say, man, I didn't know I needed all this or I needed to have this or that to complete it?
The writing portion, no, because it's just, you writing down your ideas and stuff like that. But the actual tough part of actually getting the cover design, the publishing, and all that stuff, I didn't know anything about that. So my guy Malik had to basically walk me through every step of the way. Say, hey, this is how you do it. This is the website you can do it at. This is where you get your books printed at. This is the price point where they're going to take this much out of whatever you're making. Each printed book you're going to have to pay for. And, so it was just so much of that I didn't know that I had to look to help for. And, my God, Malik really looked
and
up.
It's good. Shout out to Malik. And it's good that you have someone that you can talk to, because that's what I think a lot of us need to do, especially more in the Black community, is not be afraid to ask somebody for help or to pick people's brains who are doing something that you would like to do. Like, how are you going to learn if you don't ask for help? So I'm glad you did, because now you have an amazing book. And in this book, you share some pretty vulnerable moments, like you said, from your experience and from your side of the story, being homeless briefly. Now, after the book is all said and done, your final copy, after reading the culmination of all the things you've been through and all of your creativity, what was that feeling like for you? Can you walk us through that moment?
I was like, fuck, god damn, I'm done. Yes. It's like, shit, this shit took a long time. I was just like relieved. I was like really tired of it. And I have a newfound respect for writers, because I actually understand how hard it is. And I know now how I wrote the book now. I could have wrote it 10 times better. And that's why I'm in the process of already starting my second book, because they have a talent that is overlooked. Like, to be able to sit and write a story that people can connect with, and not just a paragraph like you used to write in school. Hey, describe this and write a paragraph about it. You know how teachers used to do. Like, to write an in-depth story and make it feel like you were actually there. Yeah. Like, that's very hard. And it is. To paint a picture and bring the reader exactly where you want them, that takes a lot of skill. Yeah, I didn't know I had it in me, and now that written the first book, I know where I messed up at, and I know where I can improve at on the next one, and I know how I can give better detail on certain situations. Like, because I know if I went back and rewrote this book, it would probably be a third more pages, just with more detail in each situation. It's not even, I wouldn't even extend the book or write any new situations. I would just be able to write better detail, just because I learned through that process of actually writing this book, of how to write a book. Gotcha. I totally understand that. Now, do you have the book with you? Are you able to give us a little small excerpt? Not too much. We want everybody to go get it, okay? But just a little something. Thank you, baby. Thank you, baby. Make sure y'all go get that. Prince of DC. Yes. So tell us what chapter or what page, or set it up for us. My favorite chapter is chapter 2. It's where I got the hustle from. And hustle is spelled Hussle. Basically for Nipsey Hussle. As you can see, I got the All Money In on me right now. You see the marathon clothing, so it's official. It's not fake. It's not knockoff. The marathon continues. That's it. But basically, it's a chapter about the person who I looked up to, the first person I looked up to as far as hustling and being an entrepreneur, and that was my father. who well, I'll just read this. I'll just read like a little paragraph really quick.
Okay.
Chapter 2, where I got the hustle from. I was at school one day and my cousin, who we call Man, came to pick me up. That was odd, seeing as though I walked home every day and lived right around the corner from the school. He was reluctant to say why he was picking me up, but he said he had bad news. He looked at me and said, Steve died. He got killed. I said, I mean, he really was he wasn't really my father. He ain't really do shit for me. Unquote. My cousin just nodded his head and we walked to my house. I said that out of my mouth, but my head was filled with a lot of things I could not explain at the time. I was confused, hurt, just in a blank space. I said that man did nothing for me, but in actuality, that wasn't the case. This was someone who was a father to me, but not my actual father. Other than TV dads, Steve was the only father I've ever known. He was my older brother's father and mother's first husband, but biologically, none of us was his kids. My siblings knew their fathers, but I didn't. So having him as a father figure was special to me, even though he didn't know I felt that way. So Steve's passing wasn't something I was prepared for. He would do all he could for me, even though I wasn't his. My older brother would get new shoes every week, me about once a month, maybe. He didn't have to do anything for me, but did it off the strength. In his death, I started to think about him all the time. Different thoughts came into my head about how he lived his life. I always wondered how he was able to do some of the things he was able to do. When I became of age, I learned he was a hustler, a real hustler. This is partly where I got my hustle from, being around him when I was younger. I would always see him pull up in a BMW or a Benz or some nice car. One time, sitting in the back seat as a little kid, my brother was sitting in the front seat and opened the glove compartment of his car, and stacks of money fell out, at least 40,000. For some reason, that specific moment has always stuck with me. He of course did more for my brother, and I will always resent that. He considered my brother his son, but I didn't get that kind of treatment. So when he died, I had that initial reaction, but deep down, I was hurt. And the way he got killed was just sick.
Mm, that was really good. That was very good. And it sounds like you share a lot in it. Look, just tell everybody where they can get this book so they can get more of that. Because I wanted you to keep going. So that's a good sign.
Man, link is in my bio, man. All you got to do is hit the link in the bio. It's Amazon. If you go on Amazon, you can search The Prince of DC, or you can search Gogo Tale. Either or, the book should pop up. So make sure y'all go get that, man. The reviews I've gotten, it's a page turner. Like, people can't put it down.
Sounds like it. It sounds like it. So make sure you get the book. You heard it right here. The Prince of DC, A Go-Go Tale. Now, I can't let you go without asking you another question. We've been talking about DC so much. Your book is even, look, you already got it copped. Look, someone already got one for you. But
bro,
being that you are a Washingtonian, as we earlier mentioned, and you're also a Black man, I have to ask you, and you've also been honored for community service, being in your background with DTLR. So I want to know your opinion on the mayor of DC, painting the Black Lives Matter on the road leading to the White House, approving this painting. A lot of people in DC are saying that this isn't enough. This is more so a pacifier to pretty much keep us satisfied with where we are now rather than having real change. Do you agree with that? Or because from outside looking in, a lot of people just feel like it's great that they painted that, it's great representation. But some people feel like they need more. Where do you stand on that?
First, let me shout out DMV Loudest, man. Appreciate you, man. You know, I've always showed love to DMV artists. You know, I was the first to put a lot of these artists in front of 1,000 people. Shaq, Lizzie, Fat Trail, Top Dollar, Light Show, Slutty Boys, all of them. So, you know, shout out to you. Appreciate you.
Yes, yes.
Absolutely. It's definitely a pacifier. Like, I would rather her defund the police and use those funds and make after school programs, make more teen jobs during the summer for the youth in the city. Our homeless problem is getting very, very bad back in DC. Like, I live in LA now.
So
I know it's a homeless person that lives right in his van, right in front of my building. So I know I've been homeless, so I know what it is. I know how it is. So I would rather her do that instead of painting anything. Like,
right.
We as people, black people, we fall for symbolic victories. That's a symbolic victory. That's nothing. That we need tangibles. We need things that are going to substantiate our community and help our community in ways that it hasn't before.
Yeah, absolutely. Then it stems from what we're doing now, people talking about it, people taking action. So that's why I had to use this platform to ask you that question about our community. And also, speaking of questions, I saw earlier, I remembered someone asked you a question before I let you go. I believe the question was, do you have to own property or can you rent property when it comes to cultivation? And if you have a question for Teej right now before I let him go, you might want to go ahead and leave it in the comments. But that was the question I heard earlier about owning or renting. Do you have to do either or?
No, you can rent.
You can rent?
You can rent or own. Owning would definitely be better, obviously. But yeah, the places that I used to work at, they were renting. Majority of the grow houses in LA are on rented properties because these cannabis companies, they don't have that much money for that real estate in LA, like downtown LA and stuff like that. And the size of the facilities, like, they don't have the capital for that. They barely have the capital for the cannabis. So majority of it is rented, so you can definitely rent.
Okay, good. Well, you heard it right here. Thank you so much for dropping all this knowledge on us in regards to the cannabis industry and for sharing your book with us. I can't wait to read it. I'm going to make sure I get it. Got to support Black business, Black creatives. Thank you for, just sharing with me and chatting with me during this time. Again, we got to chop it up when you put out book number 2.
Somebody saying it's a start. Ain't nobody ever done that painting in the streets before. That's not a start to anything, my brother. I hate to say it. Like, what is that a start to? Is that a start to somebody getting the murder rate down in D.C.? Because a black woman was just shot 47 times.
Yeah.
I mean, not shot 47 times. She was shot, but it was like 47 shots fired at a black woman in DC. Like,
I think the sentiment is touching where as far as Black pride, but I think if there's no action behind it, then it's just going to be, like you said, another symbolic win. So if there was action, if there is going to be action behind the Black Lives Matter paintings, then I'm all for it. But if it's just going to be the minimum of what we're going to get, then yeah, they could keep that. I'm with you on that. Yeah. And right, we need real action. Absolutely, I agree. That's a vote bait action. Elections.
Exactly.
Very true. Look, we're getting everybody started right now.
But the thing is, she just, like, her budget just came out and she increased the police budget and she took money away from affordable housing budget. So, like, that tells you that that sign means shit. It doesn't mean anything. It's just like I said,